Wonderful, and it's very important to celebrate these achievements and these individuals, of course. The time has come to announce the winner of the 2021 edition. Udo, will you do the honors?
Sure, that is my privilege to tell you that Myrtle Witbooi is the winner of this special award. Myrtle is an outstanding trade unionist. She is a fighter for human rights all over the world. Coming from South Africa, she has been spearheading the fight against injustice and the neglect of domestic workers in South Africa and far beyond. Decent working conditions and social security for domestic workers is her issue, is her work, and she was fighting for the most vulnerable parts of our global workforce. And I congratulate you, Myrtle. It couldn't have any better choice than you.
We have a video about Myrtle's work to show to the...
The spirit of Anene Boysi Longi!
Born under South Africa's deep apartheid divides, Myrtle Witbooi's first organising work took place in private homes. At an early age, she saw the impact of injustice without representation.
In 1967, South Africa was still in the grip of apartheid, and domestic workers was actually just depending on women. And because women were majority black women, uneducated, we found ourselves as domestic workers.
She began to organise domestic workers in her employer's garage, an act of resistance worthy of imprisonment at the time. Her voice became one of the first public figures to campaign for the rights for this isolated group of women workers. Myrtle organised South Africa's National Union of Domestic Workers, the largest movement of its kind.
Make sure that domestic workers are included in your decisions making in your country. Make sure that domestic workers get recognition that their work is decent work.
In the new democracy, she posed hard questions to government leaders. Who ironed their shirt that day? Who looked after their children? Who cleaned their homes? Challenges that led to the adoption of 5 national labour laws, including unemployment insurance and maternity benefits. In 2008, Myrtle's impact multiplied as she became the president of the first international organization of domestic workers, which played a powerful role in achieving the only global policy for domestic workers, the International Labour Organization's Convention 189, now ratified by 35 countries. Under the global COVID crisis, she led an international process that secured crisis relief funds for domestic workers, literally saving lives and reducing the impact of this virus amongst those on the front lines of care. Myrtle Witbooi's life commitment to domestic workers and women's rights has made immeasurable impact around the world, in both tangible policy and economic forms, and is a magnanimous emblem of social justice worldwide. Her commitment to domestic workers inscribes the highest calling of life achievement as a direct service to justice, peace, and solidarity.
Domestic workers work isolated from other workers. They actually live alone. They stay in the backyard of the employers. Also, domestic workers are not really protected with social security and social benefits. So that is actually why they still called a vulnerable sector. But we are hoping that changes will come for the domestic workers.
Very well deserved. And I believe we are now connected with Myrtle Witbooi. She is on the line. Hello, Myrtle. Can you hear us? Hello? Can you?
Hello, how are you?
We're very well. Congratulations for your award. Please, the floor is yours to say a few words.
Yes, I'm very surprised and overwhelmed with everything that's happening today. But I'm glad to be here, and this is my work and this is my struggle for this domestic workers. It's been my life struggle, and for me, it is a great honor to be here and to actually, have this award in honor of those workers that believe in themselves and believe that we can free ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Udo, I believe you have something you'd like to say to Myrtle as well.
Myrtle, welcome to our gathering here in Brussels, to the award ceremony. I cannot tell you how proud the progressive family all over the world is on you and is on what you did during your career as a political activist. This is the substance of our socialist and democratic work. This is the substance of what we do as Solidar, of what we do as trade unionists. Could you describe where the idea came from, how you started to get involved into this movement, and what you did from the very beginning of your activities until the worldwide awareness that you created today?
Yeah, I think that I remember you. I remember when I was at your office, I remember you even sent me to Italy to go and speak to some of the Filipino women. I think this is actually something, I think we women are born. We are born with something within ourselves, but we don't realize that we have got it. And I think this is what happened when I found myself as a domestic worker. I found myself, thinking, but this is not right what is happening to me. I did not know at that stage that what I was opening, like they would say in South Africa, was a can of worms, because in actual fact at that stage we were not allowed to open our mouth. We were not allowed to challenge the employers that we were working for. But I did it, and I just asked my employer, and why do you tell me there's no labor laws? And she said, well, there's no laws for you in South Africa. You have to work. And I said, sorry, I'm not going to do this. And that is what actually started my road to this where we are today. It was challenging, not challenging an employer, but it was challenging another woman. She was a woman just like me. And yes, I was working for her and she paid me for that. But why doesn't she respect me as a woman? And that is what happened, that I decided to speak out, to start talking to domestic workers and start asking them. And all over in the road where I walked that time, we couldn't walk during the day. We had to walk, carefully. We had to take the babies in the prams because they can stop us and tell us to. And that is how it started. And that is where we are today because of us as women taking our struggle forward.
You created, Myrtle, not only the movement of domestic workers in South Africa, but you went beyond to make the fight international. Could you describe to us who were your allies? Whom could you convince to found this international movement? Because that is meaningful to all of us in all our different countries, especially in the global South.
Where we are now, where we come from and where we are now. Today we are so proud that we have an international domestic workers federation controlled by domestic workers and mainly women. So we are here now. We have the International Domestic Workers Federation. We face within that federation because we brought together work the world. We brought together workers with different struggles. We brought together migrant, urban, all type of workers. And this in itself is a great struggle for us. And like one of my comrades and friends was saying to me, when we formed this International Domestic Workers Network in 2016, 13, when we switch over to a federation, when I was actually saying, well, my road, I'm finished walking that road now, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to relax, and I'm sure you heard about him, Dan Galan. He said, stop right there, Myrtle. I'm sorry. You are going to start to walk this road now only. So here I am. I'm on this road. It's like a new baby. It is women with different voices. It is strong women. And I think you would have never realized the power that we have as women. We were so strong, we take on the unknown. There was people that criticized us to say, what does women know? How will they run an organization? 7 years later, 8 years later, we have shown and proved to the world, as women, we can run. I'm sure if they put more women in leadership in unions, I'm sure we will make a success. But this, I'm talking about the domestic sector. I'm talking about women that had no voice. I'm talking about women that they regard the slaves as stupid. We cannot think for ourselves. And we have shown the world that our work is decent work. And for decent work, we need decent pay. And also our slogan is, our work make all work possible. And that is where we are today. And of course, it's thank you to all of you also. It's thank you to all these organizations that believe in this struggle, that believe that we will do it. And what is the most important part of our federation is the unity. It is the unity of workers. It is when one suffers in a country, we stand together and we support that country. And I think where we are now is we are in the middle. We want to step over. We want to say Convention 189, Convention 190. Let us put it together and let us create freedom for domestic workers in the world. So this is where we are now. We are on a balancing rope and we want to get to the other side, but we need to still mobilize thousands of millions of domestic workers. It's not an easy task. And of course, as you know, the COVID-19 pandemic has really set us back. But once again, domestic workers have proved we are not going to sit down. We are not going to feel sorry for ourselves. We are going to show the world that we are going to survive. And here we are, IDWF, SATSAO in South Africa, we are all still standing. We are doors and our offices, and we are still there for domestic workers. And this is where I am, and that is how I become strong, because of the belief of the workers and because we can free ourselves.
Myrtle, this is so impressive, and this is such a great message to our international community. Indeed, you mentioned it. We are indeed worried that COVID-19 is backlashing on our societies and that we go back, especially in the sector of domestic workers, because we have an informal, say highly informalized sectors with vulnerable people. You have been doing two things which are so amazing. You have been so influential on the International Labour Organization, creating new norms for this sector. You have been impacting on the mighty and the powerful. And on the other side, you have been teaching your fellows, women especially, 80% women in this sector, to stand up and to raise their voice. Give us an idea. What is your message to the world? What is your message to the European Union, to what we are doing here? How can we support you? How can we organize ourselves that your comrades, your fellows, can have a decent life in the future that is honorable for all of us? Give us your advice. How can we take action and support your work?
Yeah, I think, yes, that is what we would call on today. We would call on all organizations to support us. We would call on all organizations to actually, yes, go back. And I think it's also important that employers go back and have a close look at that person working for them and actually start asking that person questions, because sometimes we don't even know who's working for us. Sometimes they don't even know our name and we're working for them. And I think that is the challenges that we have to challenge employers. We have to actually challenge organizations. We have to challenge all those people that say we believe in the IDWF. We have to challenge them and say, it's not just about funding, it's about your solidarity support. Support us in our campaigns. And if we look at only 33 countries has ratified Convention 189, and Convention 189 is ours. We must be jealous about it. It belongs to us. It don't belong to anybody. It is ours. We fought for it. We have cried for it. And we have to make it real. So as we hoping next year we start traveling in the world again and we start talking again about Convention 189. I'm also visiting Bahrain tomorrow for a few days to go and talk there to the workers that's struggling, you know, their passports get taken away and things like that. And as we start traveling and going in the world, I just hope that with the workers, you know, pushing me and with the workers supporting me, because I am nothing without them. IDWF is big, and we are just the people that has to do the work. And like you were saying just now, if you respect yourself and you respect others, you will get a greater respect. And that is what is important. And the other thing that is important is to remain humble. You know, you see so many politicians, you see so many people, once they have power, once they become big, they forget where they come from. And this is what we're trying to preach in Satsao. And that is what I'm trying to say. Remain yourself, remain humble, and I think together we will create miracles for domestic workers if we stand together. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Myrtle. I can say, Michael, our promise is to continue our collaboration. Our promise is to give you strength, to help you forward in your work, which is inspiring the whole progressive community. Perhaps, Myrtle, one last question, one very question to you personally. Where did you take this courage from to stand up and to do all these marvelous things for the workers' community in South Africa and all over the globe? What is driving force in you that you can do that?
Yes, thank you very much. And I also want to say to you, the one person that's also very special is Barbara, that's in your organization. I think she was the one that introduced me, and she was the one that supported us at the ILO, shouting and screaming. She was really strong. So yes, let us go forward together, and let us not just like put this award and hang it on a wall or put this award one side. Let this award work for us so that we can go forward and work together. And there's many, many things to do still. There's a long road to still travel, but I'm sure together we're going to do it.
Myrtle Witbooi, thanks a lot and congratulations again.
Congratulations, Myrtle. I'd like to also give the floor to Michael. Would you like to add something? Do you have any remarks for us, Michael?
No, I mean, thanks a lot, Myrtle, and happy to see you again. I'm very happy to be with you today in this moment and to be able to be part of this process of making sure that you get the recognition that you deserve as a person and that the IDWF deserve as a movement all across the globe for the important work they do. And I think we can promise both continue our solidarity support to IDWF and our respective organizations to continue to push for the adoption of the Convention 189, but also to engage in the difficult conversations amongst ourselves where we are also employers in the roles where we are to workers in our own homes. And I think this is also something that I take with me from this conversation, the importance of both having a conversation with ourselves, which is quite intimate and sometimes problematic and complicated, and do it as well as movements and organizations. So thanks a lot, Myrtle, and happy to be with you at this very moment.
Thank you, and congratulations again, Myrtle, from all of us. And thank you, Michael. Let's hope that Solidarity